All right, it's 7:05.
I need to pick me up. President Ewing, I'm good to go.
Perfect. All right, 7:06. The board met in closed session under exception C1, C21, C11 at 6 p.m. I'd now like to call to order the March 28, 2023 Waukegan Public School Board of Education meeting. If I can have a roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Present.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak. Mr. McBride. Ms. Gonzalez.
Here.
Ms. Hannah.
Yeah.
Ms. Akisamo. President Ewing.
Yes, we do have a quorum. With that, I'd like a motion to go back into open session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hannah. Any comments or questions? All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. We are back in open session. Ms. Keonis Nelson, if you'd be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And so, for my president's report, it is spring break, so happy spring break, and thank you to all our individuals from the community, administrators and parents watching online. Again, this is important work, so we are continuing, but I hope that our staff that are taking a break, as well as our students, get some much needed relaxation. Outside of that, I also unfortunately want to take a brief moment to recognize two things. Yet again, we have experienced a shooting in our nation in one of our schools, which is supposed to be a safe place, and that's continues to be unfortunate that we have to recognize these moments. It's something that I'm hyper aware of, something that I know other school districts are hyper aware of, and there are actions further on that I'm excited about that will make our students safer. But again, it's unfortunate that we have to make those considerations. I also want to recognize Ms. Monk, who was one of our secretaries at Jack Benny Middle School. She had been a staple, one in this district, but particularly that building for nearly 30 years, going back to when I graduated from middle school in 2006. So it's a big loss for our community, that institutional knowledge, and our prayers and sympathies to her family. So if you'd be so kind to stand in a moment of silence.
Can we give her, I know you asked for a resolution.
Thank you.
Are we going to,
Yeah, that request was made to Mr. Alajakis. Yep. So with that, we do have our student board member report. I don't know if Mr. Hinojosa is online. Are you there, Mr. Hinojosa?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
he is dedicated. So even though it's spring break and his parents forced him on a much needed family vacation, he still wanted to call in and present his student board member report. So whenever you're ready, Mr. Hinojosa.
Yeah, hi everyone. I want to come to you all live from Houston, Texas. This is where I'm having my vacation this spring break. Very nice hot weather as it is here every single day. I know that in Waukegan it's still pretty cold over there, and I want to say very sorry about that because it's very, very cold over there. But for my student board member report, I'm going to deviate a little bit from what I usually do. Usually, as everyone knows, I have a slideshow of 20-some pages describing my meetings and stuff going on in the community and what I do. But in light of what happened yesterday in Nashville, I have a little statement written up specifically of that. I know President Ewing has talked briefly about it, but I do wish to talk a little bit more about it, and obviously this statement that I did. So let's begin with this. Six people tragically lost their lives yesterday at 10:15 a.m. at a Presbyterian school at the outskirts of Nashville, Tennessee. 3 of these people were 9 years old. 9 years old. The other 3 souls were administrators and staff members. These 6 people didn't imagine going to school. Going to school would be the last thing they do. Who's to know what was racing through their minds as they came close to realizing that this is it? The shooter was killed by the police officers at about 10:27 a.m. outside the school building. The shooter, at the age of 28, had 2 assault-style weapons and a pistol. The motives of the shooting are yet to be found out, but that doesn't matter as to why or what was the reason. 6 people didn't have to die yesterday. As a student with a younger sister in our middle schools, this absolutely scares the living daylights out of me. Across our nation, we have seen a spike of mass shootings never really seen before, with mass shootings in 2016 being at 383 to an absolutely disgusting number of 647 in 2020 alone. These numbers are what nightmares are made of. But if we look at school shootings, stomachs start to churn. In 2023, with only 87 days in, we have 13 school shootings with 6 students being killed. 6 students. This here is absolutely despicable. These are crimes against humanity, full stop. Why should anybody, let alone any student, be worried about being killed at school? These numbers should be 0. Not 6. Students should go to school worried not if they're going to have to defend themselves and their classmates against the speed of an AK-47. Rather, students should be worried about if they have time after school to hang out with their friends, have the courage to ask that special person out, finish that 11:59 essay, going to a soccer practice, or just going to support a friend. But no, their lives were taken away in the blink of an eye because of weapons that have no restrictions. Our government has failed to realize the priority of us, the students. We want common sense gun legislation, an assault weapons ban, and universal background checks. Not have our books banned, our funding cut, or have our curriculums twisted to a pseudoscience. But to them, the lives of children matter less than the Second Amendment. At the minimum, none of us wish to fall to such a fate. None of us want to hide in our classrooms, bathrooms, or storage closets and wait for the shooting to stop. None of us want to be a number in a growing tally of crimes against students and the world. We want to learn, to thrive, and to grow in our nation's ground, not be buried in them. These 6 people didn't need to die yesterday. All 6 should still be alive right now, going about their day, yearning for a better tomorrow. But no, they have to yet be another life, another soul lost. Their blood being spilled in the name of the right should not be infringed, but their lives were, without a second thought. We, the students, are sick and tired of being considered less than a piece of metal. We want to live in a country that treats us at a higher standard, that our lives are worth fighting for. We are more than flesh and bone. We are souls and spirits wanting to reign in the world around us. But we cannot do such an action if we are shot while we're trying to learn. We deserve so much better, and being united together is the only way forward. For the futures and for the people that didn't have to die, we need to rise up. Evelyn Dickenhouse, Haley Scrooge, William Kenny, Cynthia Peake, Catherine Coons, and Mike Hill. These are the victims. These are the souls lost. May their memory be a blessing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hinojosa. Appreciate your advocacy. And unfortunately, again, this is becoming much too common. But we all have the collective power to be able to make positive change. We do have our special recognition and presentation, so we'll start with our Art Impact Project.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Cassandra Anzalone. I'm a longtime resident of Waukegan and manager of programming at Art Impact Project. I'd like to thank you for giving us the time today to speak. Art Impact Project is a nonprofit organization born of the personal experience of founder Vicki Marasco. While dealing with her teen son's drug addiction, Vicki observed the difficulty participants in recovery had with expressing themselves. Vicki set out to develop supportive art projects facilitated in group settings to enhance their existing treatments. Through this initial effort, Vicki saw adolescents open up and instantly benefit from the process of making art. Since Art Impact Project's inception in 2014, we have expanded beyond treatment centers and partner with various groups in the Chicagoland area, such as Mundelein High School, Nakasa Bridge House, North Chicago Community Partners, where we work with the Neal Math and Science Academy students, Lake County Jail, and local veterans programming. Our mission, enhancing emotional wellness through creative expression. Now, more than ever, mental and emotional wellness are concerns that affect nearly everyone in our community. Our kids are dealing with serious issues, as we just heard. Depression, anxiety, food insecurity, and violence, just to name a few. The pandemic has only worsened these situations. Administrators, teachers, and parents struggle to deal with all of this every day. This leads me to how Art Impact Project is making a difference in our communities. Our Inside Out Mask project has been used as wellness programming in local high schools. It's designed for incoming freshmen to assist with the sometimes difficult transitions to a new environment, new teachers, and many times new friends. Let me give you a brief description of how and what the mask project entails. First, we give each student a blank mask, Mod Podge, and magazines to cut out meaningful words and images to create a collage that represents themselves. Here's an example of a completed mask. The outside of the mask reflects things the students project to others or how they think others may see them, while the inside reflects what we keep to ourselves and what we wish others knew about us. Once the masks are complete, the last 30 minutes are spent sharing and discussing our masks with the group. While partnering with schools like Lake Forest High School, Libertyville High School, and our own Brookside campus, we found this project to be impactful in allowing students to express themselves, learn more about fellow classmates, and become more empathetic towards their peers. By creating a more tolerant, self-accepting environment, we found that certain issues can be brought to light and shared with school staff to provide assistance to students who may otherwise not get the help they need. When we last facilitated this project at Waukegan High School in 2018, we met with teachers. They shared their challenges facing our young adults, and unfortunately, little has changed. Violence in our school is still an issue. Experts agree intervening early before the onset of violent behavior is one of the greatest deterrents. Adding a component of emotional well-being to the curriculum where we share and acknowledge feelings, it assists us in using positive communication to resolve conflict instead of fighting. I really would like to thank Principal Rodriguez Gonzalez for having us back at the Brookside campus to facilitate this project again. We're really excited to be back. We're going to be serving approximately 800 students from April 24th through the 27th. We cannot execute large programs like this without the help of our art advocate volunteers. And I really urge any adult here and those of you watching from home to please sign up and get involved with what your kids are doing at school. I do have a sign-up sheet, so afterward, if anybody is interested in getting more information, they can definitely contact me. Hopefully I was fast enough that if anybody has any questions, that they can ask me now.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Ms. Anna.
go ahead, Anita.
Can I make a bag?
You can. Part of the great thing is we actually do the program with the students. The teachers get involved. They do it with the students, and we all share together. So the kids sort of realize like they're not alone. Sometimes their teachers have the same feelings they do. You know, they can identify with each other easily. So we actually encourage the adults to come and participate.
Okay, sounds good.
So,
Thank you.
any other?
Question.
Mr. McBride.
Could you give me an example of something came out of it that you can remember that had some impact on a student?
Absolutely. So I just 2 years ago, I did the project at Lake Forest High School, and we were able to recognize several students that had some severe eating disorders. So we are not therapists. That is, you know, we're here to facilitate the program. So we bring that to light to guidance counselors who are there to sort of then approach those children and discuss that further. We've also seen instances of violence where children have violence at home and they express that through their masks. So again, I'm not here to be a counselor, but we do bring that to the teacher and, you know, let them know, hey, this is serious what's going on in this child's head. So that's how we deal with those projects.
Ms. Wozniak.
I'm excited that Waukegan High School is bringing back the mask project. When it was displayed in 2018 at Urban Edge, it was just very heart-wrenching, and very uplifting.
Yes.
And at the same time, it's hard to explain, but there was 300 masks or something there at the time, and it
Yes.
was just very.
We wish we had enough space to display them all at one
I
time.
know.
It is very powerful to see
Yes.
all of that. And again, it's seeing, you know, hey, I see this other kid that I didn't even know, and they are into the same thing that I am. And, you know, we really have seen kids develop friendships and bonds over doing this project. So we feel it's very effective.
Thank you.
Well, is that it?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for giving me this opportunity to come and share. It means a lot to us. We hope to continue to expand our programming in the Waukegan school districts. Like I said, we work with everything from middle schoolers up in regular daily programming at some of the schools. So, you know, this is always an option for our kids as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your
Everybody have a
time.
lovely evening.
You as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'd love to see this go to the middle schools as well. So thank you.
All right. We now have our Spotlight on 60, the tutoring program.
Ms. Quiñones, Nelson, and I, we wanted to work together on a project that she's been thinking about for a while now, which is to provide opportunities for our high school students to come to our elementary schools and provide tutoring in reading and math. We decided to pilot it here first just to see how it went, and so far we're doing amazing things. We organized it in a way where they're only out once a week from one of their electives, no core classes. Eventually this program will grow. Now the goal of it is that all 12 students are sophomores. They're going to transition obviously to the Washington campus. And so the goal is to start a program there. And so they, because they've already been part of the tutoring program, will now serve middle schoolers, right? So our long-term goal is to prepare our incoming Brookside Bulldogs, right? What an amazing opportunity for them to be able to exemplify and shine, and to give them just a little snippet of what it is to be a Bulldog.
This idea came about years ago, thinking about the importance of community involvement in our schools and community service hours. Having our students be part of the leadership group, making sure that they're tutoring other students, they become role models, they become part of the change of narrative that we want to see in Waukegan. We often hear of things that aren't positive, but we have so many positive things going on with our students. And if we just gave them those opportunities, they would come and do everything they need to do, as they have with this tutoring opportunity. I asked Ms. Rodriguez if she would be interested in having her students come to Oakdale and tutor some of our students. We did get quite a few students that were interested. We interviewed them. They accepted the position. They know their roles and responsibilities here at Oakdale, and they've been doing a fantastic job.
I got involved because I felt like it was going to be a good opportunity to just learn how to deal with younger children in general, happen to get along with children. It's more of a learning, fun experience.
Last week I had bad grades, and now my grades going back up for him. And I think I really like him teaching me.
I like when he comes because he's helped us with work and he's really fun and smart.
I would definitely encourage other people to try this out. It's something that helps you grow as a person. It's rewarding to yourself, but it's also rewarding to the community.
Miss Lizzie helped me read English and math.
In math, I've been growing a little bit up my grades. Cuando ella llega me pongo muy emocionado.
Yo me pongo muy feliz cuando Miss Lizzie va a la clase.
What influenced me to be a tutor is I'm able to teach in a way that they're learning, because they need help learning in a different way than other kids do, and I'm able to provide that for them.
I like when a tutor come in and work one-on-one because it's quieter and better. I can focus and I learn more.
I feel like every classroom would benefit from this program. But I tutor Kevin, and it's pretty fun. He's a cool kid. He's always nice and respectful. It's like, it feels good, to help somebody that you know is in need. I feel like Kevin is benefiting from the program. In the beginning, he wouldn't really ask me questions, and now he's very vocal about when he needs help. ¿Le gusta estar trabajando conmigo?
Porque cada día voy mejorando poco a poco.
Very nice.
So I do see Ms. Keonis Nelson in the audience.
Some of the tutors.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Placencia, board members, community. It's good to see everyone again. Happy spring break. I'm not going to take too much time because this spotlight is really about our community. And I say that all the time. I think you guys know I live in Waukegan, and some people see Waukegan as not the best place to be. I've always seen it as my home. And we have great people, and sometimes we focus on the negative, and we really need to see what the positive is. And our students are part of it every single day. So bringing the high school kids into the elementary schools, which we wanted to do for quite a while, I knew would ignite our younger students. And if you see them, when they see these guys, you would think they're movie stars. And these guys are just so good with kids. So, we have about a dozen kids that come over. And besides that, just sitting with Leslie and Max today, I said, what are you guys doing in spring break? I'm reading a book, I'm cleaning the house. We tend to think that this is not the greatest place, but it is. These are our kids. This is what they do. This is why you need to believe in Waukegan students, in Waukegan in general, and give. Our kids can give back. They're old enough to give back. We need to continue this process. Right now it's a dozen kids, but I really think it should be more. And one thing I would request is community service hours. There's so many other districts that give community service hours to high school kids that come back to the schools and help in one way or another. They can help me with technology, so why don't we give them those opportunities and have them earn credits? So in Spanish and English, they do such an awesome job. I want to give them an opportunity to speak, but they're the real heroes, and I think we need to applaud our students.
name is Leslie Morales, and I am a tutor as part of the Brookside Leadership Tutoring Program. My comments on this program is that I absolutely love it. It's like one of my highlights of the week. I can't wait to like get on the bus and go and travel and be able to see the kids that I tutor frequently. And I think that it's like a great opportunity because I tutor in math and I tutor third graders, and I have always been such a math oriented person, and to be able to be able to help kids in math and help them grow in math is just like a thing that I have always wanted to do. So I think that definitely spreading this program to many other kids, especially like even in like middle school, because I think we should have other kids do it as well, not just in high school, but spreading it would be like so good for other kids, because I know that other kids are like me would love to become teachers in the future or be in a career where you are working in groups, and I think that this is like the best opportunity to have that skill and grow that skill.
Grow your own. You know that's what I thought.
Hi, my name is Max Ariano. I'm also a tutor at the Oakdale Elementary. I really enjoy working with most of my students because you're at that age where they don't look up to you as necessarily an adult, but more like a helper, and you help them understand their you help them better understand their learning experience, and it's fun for them, and I feel like it's fun for me, and we make them more excited to learn in the future, hopefully to improve. And I feel like spreading this program out to more high school students would really encourage the younger kids to do this when they're older, and hopefully we can all grow as a community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Miss Anna.
Yeah, I just was wondering that you said it about becoming a teacher in the future. Is this something that you would like to do? Is it helping you to maybe understand what it's like being a teacher?
Yeah, I've definitely seen like the struggles and the so many more advantages. Definitely the advantages go above the struggles, but I've seen how hard teachers have worked, because I've always recognized that, but I've like never actually experienced it firsthand. So I thought it was just really cool to see like how teachers sometimes have to like take a step back as some kids don't understand what they are explaining, and they kind of have to like redirect themselves and think, oh, what if I teach it like this, and then it works.
And so you are the students that you're working with, are you seeing them do better in their work that you're working them with?
Yeah, I've definitely seen them grow. We do a couple problems while I'm there, and we usually do like 3 to 4, and I've seen when I enter and I start working with them, I see how much the difference they are doing in answering my questions. They definitely have more confidence in their answers as we move through like the problems.
Ms. Wozniak.
What was your training to be their tutors?
We had the interview and they asked us a couple questions of like, do you want to be a teacher in the future, and like what, like if we done community service, or if we have participated in any leadership roles in the past. I think that is part of it.
Awesome.
We do have an instructional support teacher that's been trying to grab some math, and right now, who was the one that was here that gave us the flashcards?
Oh, Mr. Sebecki.
Mr.
Sebecki, yeah.
Thank you. So we're going to be using those for the tutors. But you know, when we say we're preparing kids to be college and career ready, it starts with an interview. We got to show them how to have interview skills, right? So it started there, and then we grew from there and put them in, depending on what the kids needed in Spanish or English, and where they were suited.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm going to say is, as we talk about pathways and electives in college and career readiness, right, is we can start to help teach the fundamentals of reading instruction and math instruction. And I think that there is an amazing opportunity for a pilot. So I thank you, Ms. Keonis Nelson, for being one of those principals that continues to push the envelope to involve the community and look at the bigger picture. So always excited for the programs that you bring forward, and glad that we were able to get this one off the ground this year. And I would love to see what opportunities we do have to expand in the future.
Right.
Ave was very involved too, Ms. Rodriguez, so she's not here tonight, but I do want to give her a shout out.
Right.
She reached out, she was very open to this idea, and that's how we moved forward with it.
Right.
That's awesome.
The other thing,
go ahead,
the other
Mr.
thing I thought was interesting is the fact that the kids were excited to see you every day. It's one-on-one tutoring, and you're like a big sister or big brother helping them out. I thought that was so wonderful. So continue what you're doing. I just think it's great, and Ms. Guiones, to grow this program. I know some years back I saw kids coming into one of our elementary schools from another district, and I am so happy that you brought this to our district. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I do want to say shout out to our comms team.
Yeah, I was gonna say that video is my favorite.
Oh yes.
The editing, spectacular. I also want to say thank you to the students for coming up and speaking, because that is an intimidating thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Awesome. All right, we have our minutes, so we have 3 that we're approving today. If no one objects, can we take these 3 together?
Yes.
All right, I'd like approval for items 8A, B, and C. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez, second. Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Seeing there's no one objected, roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. We're now at public comment. Just for the record, go back up, please, Mr. White. For the record, a approval of minutes open session of December 13th, 2022, special open session board meeting January 9th, 2023, and C, open session board meeting January 10th, 2023. Those are approved. As a reminder, individuals, when I call your name, please come up to the microphone. You have 3 minutes. If you need translation services will be provided, and we put 6 minutes on the clock to allow for the translation. We do ask that you refrain from mentioning student and staff names. We also want to remind the community as well as the board about our policy around civility at the board meetings. First name on the list, and I'll call 3. There are only 3 names, so if that way you all can line up in succession. So the first name is Ray Vukovic, next name is Randy Sebecki, and then it'll be Nicole Hernandez. Mr. Vukovic, whenever you start speaking, your time will begin.
Good evening. Why do I stand up here week after week bringing things to your attention? I stand here for the teacher I saw this morning at Jewel, who is 1 year from retirement. She told me, "You say things we can't." Or the administrator that walked up to me in a restaurant last fall and said, "You are spot on. A lot of people in administration appreciate that you speak out." I speak up for the students, teachers, staff, and taxpayers of Waukegan Community District 60. Tonight I wish to speak about item 10A on your agenda. It was talked about last week at the committee meetings. Paper tutoring for $269,000. Now last week there were a lot of discussion on it, and there was just a little bit of information. This was what was attached for tonight's meeting. And the current contract was for $259,000, which was paid just a couple of months after it was approved in September of 2021. Based on the information provided in board docs, 1,300 students used the service for a total of 76,346 minutes, or 1,272 hours. So this tutoring service cost the taxpayers of this district $204 per hour that it was used. for tutors that are paid $19 an hour. Looking further at the data, it should be noted that 67% of the sessions are held during regular hours. The data also shows that 76% of the students using the program are middle school students. How about hiring a few retired teachers to be tutors? Treat them like the professionals that they are, pay them like the professionals that they are, and it would be far less than $204 an hour. If you award this contract tonight, please be advised that according to the documents that are provided, the superintendent will read a resolution saying that it's effective March 1st of this year, which is some 4 weeks ago. However, when you read the contract, it was effective December 1st of last year. So who dropped the ball on this one? As I told you at a special meeting last week, in 1980, Ronald Reagan asked the American people, are you better off than you were 4 years before? And tonight I ask the people of Waukegan, are our schools any better off today than they were 7 years ago when this superintendent was hired? Citizens, it's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vukovic. Whenever you start speaking, your time will begin, Mr. Sabecki.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So I have two things. One thing's on the agenda tonight. Second one's not. The first thing I want to talk about, we're going to pass the entryways for security in our buildings, which we needed. But let's make sure they're being used properly, because there's some of our schools where you get through that first door, the security wall has that second door that's usually always propped open. So that defeats the purpose. If they're supposed to funnel through the office, then let's make sure that's the only door that's accessible if you get through that first door. Because there are schools that leave that second door open all day. Second, I want to talk about funding for 214 Washington Street. As the presentation, I wasn't at the student achievement meeting, but I went back and watched it. I remember numbers. I'm pretty good with numbers. So I went back and looked. The estimated cost for the first floor and the lower level, the wraparound center, was $4,953,250 plus 7.75% architect fee. The funding for the educational service center, the mezzanine and floors 2 through 6, was an estimated cost of $3,110,753 plus the 7.75% architect fees. That's a total of $8,064,003. At the student achievement meeting, we're asking for the total cost of the project, $13 million, to be reserved for the total cost. That's a difference of $4,935,997. The first two numbers that I gave you is what the community was told the estimated cost of that was. So where's the other $5 million for? And I know our school colors are purple, green, and gold, but are we actually trimming the place in gold? Because that's a lot of extra money that was not brought to the community or told to the community. So where's the other $5 million? And I understand there's obviously inflation costs in that, but not $5 million worth. So that needs to come before it's voted on, I assume at the April meeting. That needs to be discussed. And that's your guys' job to be asking these questions, where that $5 million is coming from. And this was what was presented. I had to go back through all of the videos on YouTube and find this, because I remember these numbers being presented. And all the other, this building and all the rest are all to be determined still. And that's what I want to know. That's a $5 million difference. And it was said at the student achievement meeting, we want $13 million for that building. But according to what you guys put out, it was $8 million it was going to cost. So I would like to know the difference. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sabecki. Whenever you start speaking, your time will begin, Ms. Hernandez.
I'm not going to talk to you guys because I've sent emails and I don't get responses. I've put my email when I come up here and you don't respond like you say that you supposedly do. So, people, 214, again, as far as what was said at the council meeting, we have a group here that is supposedly concerned with social emotional supports, but they don't want to actually address the issue inside of the buildings. So that's the first thing. Paper tutor is not needed. We should not have it. It's a waste of money, period. If you're going to do something like that, then you need to obviously condense it down to 1,500 people or something like that and get a better deal. Common sense. At the last meeting, we're talking 6026 for the interviewing, the DCFS interviewing. Now they're going to appoint Oscar. I don't know him personally, but what I can say is that I've sent many emails back and forth between this individual and the board, and they are aware of the laws. They are aware that they're supposed to have court orders. They're aware of the things that are needed of them, but yet we are conspiring, literally conspiring against the students, against the families, not addressing the issues legally. And we have a council up here that wants to ignore the law. Regarding the statement that a report was, that they'll just get a report of how many DCFS workers have already came into the buildings, did a FOIA. They don't have any records for the last, I think I did it for 5 years. So there's been no DCFS people that have come in the building, or we don't have a report because we're, again, conspiring against families. What's really going on? The form that they have for the third reading today, they have things in there that are not blue, that are not to be changed because they shouldn't have been changed from last year. And the, again, she said there's a form that they're supposed to be getting, you know, have it signed off or whatever. The form doesn't exist. There is no form, okay, according to the FOIA. There is no form that exists to go to council. So you guys need to address the reality of what's coming from the FOIA department and the reality of the lies that's actually happening and the reality of what our families and our kids are going through, because it's bullshit.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. And I do want to remind all speakers that profanity should not be used at the microphone. Thank you. All right, so now we have the consent agenda, which is listed. So these items should be non-controversial and or previously discussed. So I am asking right now if any board members would like to hold over any items for any reason. Not hold over, pull out.
Pull out.
10A, please.
Same.
All right, 10A. So there's been a request. Are there any other items that the board members would like to vote on separately?
Well, yeah, not separately, but just a question. At the student achievement operations meeting, it was just the approval for the classroom projectors.
Mm-hmm.
It was just projectors. It wasn't the mounts.
I think it's inclusive, but let's A. We'll vote on that separately. A and J. All right. With that, I'd like a motion to approve items B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, and L.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion? Roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Reading those for the record. B, approval of H.R. McCall virtual conference for Orton Gillingham training. C, approval Washington Elementary Innovative School Summit. D, approval of teaching through problem solving course renewal with Dr. Takahashi. E, Orton Gillingham training for instructional support teachers. F, approval of renewal frontline professional growth system. G, approval of advanced placement AP Summer Institute for WHS student teachers. H, approval of Illinois High School Association renewal. I, approval of American School Counselor Association National Conference attendance. K, approval to attend the Tableau Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada from May 8th through the 12th, and L, approval to attend IAAP Summit 2023. We have item 10A. I do have individuals that still have questions. So Board of Ed, I don't know if you all would like to hold the item over.
I don't want to hold it.
I don't want to hold it.
I don't want to hold it. I'm willing to vote on it.
Or do we have, I guess,
Or discuss.
first, do we have, Superintendent, so you've heard some of the questions or concerns?
Yeah, are you here for paper? I was going to ask that if the board could hold this over because our deputy and associate superintendent are on vacation this week.
Okay.
And I do know Clarence is here and prepared, ready to answer some questions, but I do feel that if we could hold this over to our first meeting where Dr. Cesario and Dr. Nault could be present.
Yeah, and I'm good with that because for the time, the board has to go back in the closed session anyway. So the next item was item J. Ms. Hannah talked about projectors and mounts. Is that included in the overall price? Can you speak to that from where you are, Mr. Moulton, or whoever brought that forward?
Please use the microphone, Mr. Milton, so our audience can hear you.
So Dr. Cuevas brought it forward.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah, do you got a specific question?
No, Mr. Moulton should know.
Oh, do we have a motion to approve items J?
Also
I
move.
second.
Motion, who's the, you said you motion, Mr.
I'll
Riddle?
I'll make a
Second
motion.
was Ms. Gonzalez, and then, well, now Superintendent, can you read the recommended action?
Yeah, I just want to know if.
One sec, Ms. Hannah. I'm just wondering procedurally, that's all. We got a first and a second, we got the motion. Well, we didn't read the recommended action, but go
It
ahead.
is the recommendation that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent or her designee to approve the purchase of 50 Epson projectors for classrooms.
And Mr. Riddle was the first, Ms. Gonzalez was the second for the record. And now the question was, it includes the mounts, right?
It was not, and it wasn't presented with the mounts at the, when it was presented to us. And so is there an additional cost
Oh, yes.
that was
$200.
attached
The mounts are right there.
to the mounts?
You can't put it up without a mount.
Well, I know that, Mr. Riddle. I'm just
total?
saying, I know that it was not presented
Yes.
But,
yes.
but
to us.
Yeah, so,
is the question about the total or?
My question is, did the amount increase from the amount that was presented to us at the student achievement meeting? Did this amount increase because the mounts were now included?
Ms. Hannah, give them 1 second there, going back to the
Yep.
student achievement.
So, thank you for the question, Ms. Hannah. So based on our records at the March 21st Student Achievement Meeting, it was presented that the total value would be $120,393.71, and it appears that that is identical to what's on the CDW quote on the agenda this evening.
Okay, so it actually just was slight in terms of the administration adding mounts on there. As you all know, I'm meticulous when we come to voting on stuff and it's not worded properly or things are missing or not added. I need to know what I'm voting on specifically.
Yes, Ms. Hannah, the verbiage in public content for student achievement just said projectors. However, the quote that was attached last week at that meeting had mounts and projectors, and the verbiage is correct on this evening's agenda. But the amount is the same and the quote is the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan-Wozniak. Yes. Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Wait. I just saw something else. Why are we using local funds and not ESSER funds?
Well, the question is at hand. Can we come back to Ms. Hannah in order to talk about the funding source? So Ms. Hannah, continue with the vote. The vote is in place.
Yes, I'm gonna vote yes, but I still wanna know why we're using local funds when we have ESSER funds that we need to exhaust.
I think those are budgeted, but Ms. Polk, if you can come in and speak to that. Continue with roll, please, Ms. Jasmine.
President Ewing.
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. We are now at the consent agenda for operations. I'll do the same thing. This is done to expedite the work of the board. Would any board members like any items voted on separately? If not, I'd like a motion to approve items A through I, 11 A through I.
I motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez. Second, I heard first was Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Where'd they do drywalling at Lincoln Center?
It was in the basement. IT.
Deputy Moulton, no.
That drywall was done in the lower level, the basement area of Lincoln Center, to support the IT continued scanning initiatives, as well as to support other needs for the IT department. And the
It was for the IT record management.
the record management.
That long that steep staircase in Lincoln Center?
Right beneath us, Miss Hannah, between this location as well as the main stairwell by the women's restroom on the first floor.
It's
at the
not
bottom
gonna
of the
flood
stairwell.
down there anymore, right?
So we have looked at that issue with our operations staff and local plumbing contractor to minimize that, but at the last hard rain, we did address that issue.
Is it gonna flood again?
That is, we hope not. We believe we've addressed that issue from any significant flooding in the future.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Polk is
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. I'll read those in for the record. If we go back up, Mr. White. 11A, approval of professional development, Tony Christian for CPMM certification. B, approval of ratification and payment for drywall work at Lincoln Center. C, approval of agreement with FMX, new computer maintenance management system. D, approval of bid for secure entry renovations at Carmen Buckner, Greenwood, and Robert Abbott. Bid, approval of Abbott Middle School emergency sewer repair. F, approval of Greenwood security cameras. G, approval of Cook Star Lab purchase. H, approval of bid for 2023 multi-state secure entrance improvements, and the schools are listed. And I, approval of furniture proposals at multiple school locations. All right, we are.
Are you gonna ask Ms. Polk?
Ms. Polk, I'm going to have you come back at superintendent time, and the only reason is we have already moved on past that item. Thank you. All right, personnel items. Do we want to vote on these items separately?
You can vote them all if you want.
Are there anyone who's opposed to taking them? So I guess the motion would be to take
What is that?
personnel items A through E.
Oh, yeah, I wanna vote separately on A and B, please.
Okay. So, personnel items 13A, Deputy Superintendent of Operational Supports and Programs, Contract Amendment Number 2.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the amendment of the contract of Mr. LeBarry Moulton, Deputy Superintendent of Operational Supports and Programs, memorializing his satisfactory or better performance evaluation by the superintendent for the 2021-2022 school year.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion?
These are, if this is the same contract that was originally presented, there's things in the contract that I do not agree with. So, seeing that it's going to stay the same, as there's no changes are made to the terms of the contract, I'm going to have to vote no.
Any other comments or questions? Yeah, I just want to go. This is a formality. It's just to vote that the evaluation took place.
Well, it says that the amendment contract amendment number 2.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we're.
That's 2. It may not be any changes that are coming forth, but it's not amendment 1, it's amendment 2.
No, and I agree with you, Miss Hannah. You have to vote your conscience. I just wanted to state for the record, there's no additional income, there's no extension, it's just a formality. The board is literally voting, just saying that the evaluation took place. So with that, I'd like a roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak. Yes. Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
No.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Item B, Deputy Superintendent of Academic Supports and Programs Contract Amendment number 2.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the amendment of the contract for Dr. Eduardo Cesario, Deputy Superintendent of Academic Supports and Program, memorializing his satisfactory or better performance evaluation by the superintendent for the 2021-2022 school year.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Again, same comment that if this is the first original contract, there are things in the contract that I did not agree with then, and if they're still there, because there's no changes to be made with the terms of the contract, I'm gonna have to vote no.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak. Yes. Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
No.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. Item C, DCFS Liaison Appointment.
It is recommended that the Board of Education appoint Mr. Oscar Dupuy, Director of Student Outreach as the DCFS liaison for the district.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Yeah, I just got a comment. Why all of a sudden do we need this position, or we need him in this position? Because from everything that I know of DCFS, they're very reluctant to take on things that go on in the schools. And so I need someone to explain to me why this is needed. And it's very rare that DCFS will come into the schools about stuff.
This is set up for the district to identify a single individual primarily to assist with ensuring that students who are DCFS wards are being properly enrolled in the school setting and helping assist with them being successful in the schools. It used to be discretionary for the schools to appoint a DCFS liaison, and it is now at this point mandatory under the school code.
Thank you. Then there are no.
Would that be the same thing as under the McKinney-Vento?
It's somewhat similar to having a liaison to assist homeless students, yes. But the school code does set out that minimally the role assists with ensuring DCFS wards are properly enrolled in school, that student records are received, because these kids can often be mobile. And then there are a variety of other initiatives or responsibilities that the role could take on with the department to just improve the access to school and performance of DCFS related wards in the school setting. Try and reduce those barriers to them receiving their education.
It's again, kind of, it's kind of skewed because this is services that were being taken care of by outreach anyway.
Mr. Dupuy is the director of student outreach.
I know he is.
Yeah, but I want to ask a question because I think this may get to what you're maybe trying to inquire about, Ms. Hannah. Is this doesn't come with any, like, this responsibility is under his scope of work, right, Ms. Vanderbrook? He's not getting any other kind of benefit by doing this work. He's just being
Correct.
a liaison because it falls under his department.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I know we had a conversation in the last meeting, and we was concerned about whether or not our kids had the proper support when it came to DCFS, such as, let's say a Hispanic had an issue, and we want to make sure that individual had the right interpretation and all that there. So I know we had a conversation about
Yeah,
that.
that's part of our policy reading.
So hopefully that, this individual will be able to satisfy the district to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
I'm passing.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. D, HR recruitment travel authorization 2023.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education authorize the travel of Human Resource Department staff for the purpose of recruiting teachers for bilingual, diverse learners, math, science, and other hard-to-fill vacancies in a variety of job markets to include but not limited to Mexico, Puerto Rico, HBCU, and others as new recruitment opportunities arise in support of a successful recruitment effort. The total estimated cost is $18,000.
I have a comment.
You got two different numbers.
Motion to.
Yeah.
Can we make it?
Wait,
Do we
hold
have
on.
a motion?
The motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle. And second by Ms. Gonzalez.
No.
No?
I had a comment.
Well,
not
I need a second before we can discuss.
Oh,
it.
Second.
A motion.
Second by Ms. Wozniak.
Okay.
Now, you had a question,
No?
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, there's two different amounts. It says total estimated cost is 18,000, but our dollar amount at the top is 25,000. I'm gonna pass on this. I'd rather see an itinerary of where we're going.
Yes.
I want to prioritize Mexico and Puerto Rico, but more Mexico because our students are primarily Mexican. And I know Puerto Ricans have, I love our teachers from the island as well, but me personally, I think we need to strengthen that partnership because of a lot of our students have different dialects, different accents, things like that, and our HBCUs. Yeah. So right now, it just seems like we're giving a dollar amount and we don't know where we're going, and I'd
So-
rather see that.
That's a fair question, Ms. Gonzalez. Let's just hold this over to our April board meeting when Mr. Figueroa is present.
I'll withdraw my motion.
We got, Mr. Riddle withdrew his motion. Ms. Wozniak, do you withdraw yours?
Yeah, withdrawn.
All right. Item 13E, personnel for 3/28/23.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education accept the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments, retirement, and accept the resignations as found on schedules F998, L945, and G656.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on the motion?
Yeah, I would put it forward to the superintendent to have at the next board meeting the number of vacancies throughout the district.
So-
Where those vacancies are and how many vacancies do we have?
Yes, ma'am, that is a report that I have asked HR to supply to the Board of Education every Monday. You did not receive the report this Monday because of spring break, but when we come back from spring break every Monday following that, the Board of Education will be supplied a report of vacancies in all areas.
Yeah. All right. We got a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak. Yes. Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes. Item approved, motion carries. We're now at, we do have administrative appointments. And so we want to say thank you and welcome and congratulations to Dr. Zahn, who is already the interim and stepped in over at Lyon and has been doing a phenomenal job. And so we are glad to remove the interim title. So thank you. Your choice if you'd like to come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Zahn.
congratulations.
Thank you and congratulations.
Dr. Zahn.
Yeah,
Dr. Zahn, yes.
and I want to say I'm kind of often over there, and I've watched you do what you need to do, and keep up the good work. Yeah.
Awesome. 16A, ratification of the second processing of March 2023 board bills, manual check request payments, and Old National Bank insurance payments for the period of March 8th, 2023 through March 21st, 2023.
It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education ratify the second processing of board bills for March 2023 and manual check request payments and no National Bank insurance payments for the period of March 8, 2023 through March 21st, 2023. The accounts payable board March 8, 2023 through March 21st, 2023 payments total $1,107,497.03. The manual check request payments for the period of March 8, 2023 through March 21st, 2023, total $504,353.76. Though National Bank insurance payments for the period of March 8, 2023 through March 21st, 2023, total $25,970.
Motion to approve the as read by the superintendent.
Motion by Mr. Riddle.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions? Roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak. Yes. Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes. I've asked all reports to be held because we do have to go back into closed session. So for the sake of time.
The superintendent report. Mr. Polk.
Oh, Ms. Polk had the question. So one of the questions asked earlier, Ms. Polk, related to why we weren't using ESSER funds for the projector amounts.
Board President, board members, superintendent, community members, and colleagues. The ESSER money is actually dedicated to other expenses, and so when we go through the budget process, we put those things that we feel could fill that grant. And so when we go through this current budget process, we're going to reassess the expenses that are currently in that grant. And if we have to transfer those expenses into the grant, we'll do it at that time. But I think the most appropriate answer at this point is that all of ESSER has been designated for other expenses. And so these were priorities that were passed by the committee, approved by the superintendent and the Board of Education, and so those are in the local funds.
Go ahead, Ms. Anna.
Ms. Polk, has the committee, the budget committee convened yet?
Not yet. It's on April the 24th.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was waiting.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Polk.
And I just have one delegate about the board members. There's an update, and you have to file your economic statements by May 1st. And hopefully you've all gotten that, so that you, if it's not done by May 1st, you'll get penalized, $15 late filing fee. And if it's not done by May 15th, they start racking up $100 per day. And it can be done online, which I think is very, very easy. And County Clerk Vega sent us a letter via the post office. So hopefully everybody gets that and don't get socked by any of those penalties.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. All right, we got old business, which is the DCF interviews, third reading. It is recommended that the Board of Education, oh, sorry, Superintendent, if you read the recommended action.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the amendments to Board Policy 6026, DCFS interviews, as reflected in the third reading.
I motion to approve the recommendation.
Motion by Ms. Gonzalez.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion?
So, just to clarify, the only thing that was added was so that we could facilitate notifying DCFS if our student had a specific need that was on their record anyway, that they would have articulated that.
All right. Seeing if there are no further questions, roll call vote.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yeah.
President Ewing.
Yes, item approved, motion carries. 19B, Policy 6031, administering medication to students, third reading.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the amendments to Board Policy 6031, administering medication to students as reflected in the third reading.
I motion to approve the recommendation.
Motion by
Second.
Ms. Gonzalez, second Ms. Wozniak. Any comments or questions on the motion?
And it was changed about the parents, right?
Yeah, it was clarified because you can notify the nurse, but they don't have to be present because as the parent, you have right to administer medication. Yeah. Mhm.
Roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes. 19B. I'm sorry, 28. Dual class action litigation, Waukegan Community School District number 60, Plaintiff v. Jewel Labs, Inc. et al. I'll do it. 3. What's that?
Semicolon.
Colon 21-CV-09521 settlement.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the proposal settlement with some of the defendants in the Jewel multi-district litigation, case number 3:21-CV-09521 with ND California, as recommended by the District Legal Counsel and determined to be in the best interest of the district, and authorize the Board President to execute the settlement documents.
Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Riddle,
Sorry.
second by Ms. Gonzalez. I'm going to say no comments or questions based on what we were advised, so roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak.
Yes.
Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes. We'll say this is good for the district.
We just have to, when we get, I think there needs to be more talk around with the school district so that we can earmark that money.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't go directly into one pot. We need to earmark it.
Thank you, Miss Hannah.
And please note that.
All right. It's 8:17. Y'all have asked me not to keep you all here long. We've already been here longer than I anticipated. So what I will do is start with board member time. I'll start with you, Ms. Wozniak.
I just wanted to mention that last week I was honored to go to Clark Elementary School to introduce one of my classmates from high school who is a published author who went to John Clark School. She was so excited to go and present her book and to give the students a little instruction about not giving up. It was on the front page of the newspaper, and her name is Eileen Rajla Meyer, and her book was A Superlative A Lincoln, and it's poetry, and it's a great book. If you have a chance, read it. But then I also want to acknowledge 2 other authors that are Waukegan centric. Melanated authors. They've been touring many of our schools lately and have been giving out books. I was lucky enough to see them present their books at Cook Magnet. Also saw them at back in the day it was Jefferson when I saw them, and or one of them. And she is even a friend of yours, isn't she, Brandon? Mm-hmm. Yep. And she wrote this excellent book about Malcolm's superpowers, and I loved it. I took it to Clark and read it to the kiddios back in the day too. So I'm hoping they will. They'll be at North School on April 11th, I think, and they're making the rounds. So if you get a chance, go see them.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah.
I want to speak to the MCL event that took place on I thought it was a date on here.
On Thursday, the 23rd.
Thursday the 23rd. Thank you. Okay, it was well attended. I was very glad to see the number of students that were involved in this. I am hoping that that we can do this again, because the individuals that came to motivate our students were very excited about coming back in, doing something else, and also possibly doing something on a grander scale. And so I would like to give a shout out, and I'm going to start with the originators of this, and that was myself along with Ms. Polk, and contacting the individuals that came, and then it was handed over to Mr. Moulton. Want to give a shout out to him, Mr. Hill, Mr. Berry, Mr. Campos, Dr. Cuevas, Isaac Kirkwood, and Mr. Silva. And also we were able to meet Harrison Peters from MCEL. And so we had some heavy hitters at this event, and they were absolutely inspiring to the children. And just a shout out to Darnell Lee. He was a motivational speaker and CEO founder of the W&T Travel Services. Tiffany Simone, Calvin Kohler, Kurt Jones. He was a NBA individual. Otis Smith. This is not his picture in here, but he's NFL pro football player. Hugo Rodriguez was there, and the others were not able to come, but it was an excellent event for the students. And just a shout out to Mr. Moulton for your support and everything with this.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Mr. McBride. Mr. Riddle.
I'll be real quick. I know we want to move out of here, but I had the opportunity last week to go to both of our high school campuses with some of our Little Fort Lions as we recruit students for our World Affairs seminar in June. And we're just always impressed with the caliber of students that come down. We had over 70 students that were interested in applying for the scholarships that we give those kids, some of those children, and just talking to them, just really impressed with the caliber of some of our students at both campuses who are going to, many of them who will apply for the scholarship. I also want to thank the two assistant principals there, Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Arias, who helped us recruit some of these, is also Mr. Ashlaw, who sent some of his students down to see us for this opportunity. So just a great time visiting both of those schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Riddle. Ms. Gonzalez.
I just want to give kudos to the students who participated in all of these programs to try to mentor younger students. But I also just wanted to share something that really moved me last week in one of my reprimands. I had a student share that they thought that there was no point in going to class because they didn't really feel like they understood anything, and so why try? And I think, as much as we highlight the students that are persevering, they're doing really great, they're taking leadership roles, I just want to say that there is a space for the student that is completely lost right now. You can count on a peer to be that voice of encouragement and those teachers that really want to help you grow, and that there is never too late a chance for you to get right where you need to be. And I really loved the programming that happened last week around some of those students, so I hope that we just increase the reach. And that's it.
Thank you. So after my remarks, unless you got a legal report, the board will be going immediately into closed session, but then we will dismiss from closed session. There'll be no further board action. I just want to say God bless, enjoy vacation for those of you that are on vacation, and the work continues. So with that, I'd like a motion to go back into closed session under exception 1, which is specific personnel, exception 21, approval of previous closed session minutes, and that's it.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Wozniak,
Second.
by Ms. Gonzalez. Roll call.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
Ms. Callahan Wozniak. Yes. Mr. McBride.
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah.
Yes.
President Ewing.
Yes, board, if we can meet downstairs in the 5 minutes.